when Julia texted, "I'm in Paris. Don't wait." I stared at my phone, the words simple yet heavy, carrying a weight I couldn't ignore. For months, we had drifted apart. Cold dinners, half-hearted conversations, her glued to her phone while I pretended not to notice. But this message felt different. It wasn't just distance, it was a declaration. I didn't reply immediately. I sat on the edge of the bed, thinking about the life we had built over 6 years. Our apartment, weekend routines, inside jokes, and dreams for a future that now felt fragile, like thin glass ready to shatter. Julia had always been the adventurous one, quick to pack a bag for a weekend getaway. But this, Paris alone, without warning, without a goodbye, was different. I remembered our last fight. Something trivial, her forgetting groceries, me snapping over text. Words were thrown like knives, and after that night, she began retreating, claiming she needed space, her own life. And now this. I picked up my phone and typed, "I won't. Divorce is waiting." I hit send before I could second-guess myself. It wasn't anger, it was clarity. I had tried ignoring the signs, tried holding on, tried convincing myself we could fix what was broken. But truth reveals itself, whether you're ready or not. That evening, I wandered through our apartment, running my hands over everything we had shared. Photos, letters, souvenirs from trips. Every item marked what we had lost long before Paris became her escape. And yet, I didn't feel bitterness. I felt resolve. By the time she landed, I had contacted our lawyer. The papers were ready. She didn't know it yet, and I wanted it that way. Let her come back believing she could slip into her old life, unaware that the choice had already been made. That night, I stayed awake imagining the airport, the bustling crowds, the announcements, the endless sea of travelers, and her, walking toward the moment that would change everything. The next morning, the city felt unusually still. I went through my routine, coffee, shower, checking the mailbox, but my mind was elsewhere. Each phone buzz made my heart jump, expecting her message, but none came. I didn't need it. I already knew the distance between us was more than miles. It was a chasm built over months of neglect, lies, and unspoken resentment. When she finally returned, she didn't knock. She opened the door as if she owned the space, hair slightly windblown, luggage rolling behind her. She smiled, the same smile that had once drawn me in. But I saw it for what it was, a mask. "Hey," she said casually, dropping her bag. "I missed you. Paris was amazing." I cut her off with a quiet, measured tone. "I'm glad you had a good trip, but it's over, Julia. Divorce is waiting." Her smile faltered.
What?
"What do you mean?" I didn't raise my voice. I didn't plead. "I mean, I can't pretend anymore." I tried. I held on. "But you've made your priorities clear." Her hand shook as she reached for her bag, words stumbling. "Ryan, wait. It was just a trip." I didn't. I shook my head. "It wasn't just a trip. It's everything you've been doing behind my back. The distance, the secrets, the lies. And now, the consequences are here." She sank onto the couch, silent, energy shifting. I didn't feel victorious. I felt relief. Relief that the illusion of our marriage, the pretense of love and trust, had finally been stripped away. Then came the moment that made it irreversible. I placed her phone on the table, open to the messages I had discovered the night she left. Every word, every hidden conversation, every broken promise displayed clearly. Her face went pale, hands trembling. She looked up, searching for an excuse or apology, but there was none. "This isn't about punishment," I said quietly. "It's about truth. And truth has a way of catching up, whether we're ready or not." For the first time in months, she was truly quiet. No arguing, no deflection, just facing the reality she had tried to avoid. "Ryan, I didn't mean for it to get this far," she whispered. I shook my head. "It didn't get this far, Julia. You chose this path long before Paris. That trip was just the final step." Her eyes welled up, anger and regret mingling. I leaned forward, voice steady. "I loved you. I trusted you. But love isn't enough without honesty. I gave you chances. You made your choice. She tried to speak, but no words could undo what had been done. I handed her the divorce papers. Her hand shook as she took them. Sign them, I said quietly. Or don't. The choice doesn't change reality. She stayed silent for a long moment, eyes fixed on the floor. Finally, she picked up the pen. A chapter of our lives ended, not with shouting, not with anger, but with quiet acknowledgement of what had been lost. After she left, the apartment felt lighter. The air cleaner, calmer. I sat on the couch, staring out the window. Paris was now a memory she had returned from, a symbol of choices made and consequences faced. When Julia texted from Paris, she believed she controlled the narrative. But the narrative had changed long before she landed. Sometimes, it only takes a single message, a single revelation, to end a marriage. And sometimes, it only takes one moment of clarity to understand the cost of choices. That evening, as I closed the door behind her, I knew one thing with absolute certainty. I was no longer waiting. I was free.